Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. So, today we're going to deal with something that all of us go through. As you all know, I'm K. Shailaja Rao, a soft skill trainer at Aditya Global Business School. What I'd like to talk about today is stress and how we can manage stress, how we can overcome stress. When I mean manage stress, not try to keep it, but try to overcome it. Okay, so we'll talk about stress management. Today, in this world, no matter what age you are, no matter which place you are, everybody is going through some sort of stress or another. Probably some of us are going through stress because of COVID 19. Actually, COVID 19 has already added to the stress, and now we are more worried about the vaccine. And then, doesn't matter. People might think that as students, what stress do they have? They just, their parents pay for their tuition and they just go to college, have fun, enjoy themselves, maybe study a little, and then students are not supposed to have any stress. But I'd say that they are wrong. I think you'll all agree with me, right? All of you have some kind of stress or another. So let's look at some of these, why this stress is caused and how you can overcome this stress. So let's look at stress management. So what is stress? When can you say a person is stressed? Or when do you feel stress? What how do you feel when you're stressed out? What does stress actually feel like? I'm sure you feel like pulling out your hair like that. But stress is, you know, because of the rat race, as it's called. We're all, running a race. We're sort of, as students, we have exams, we have to pass those exams, we have to, if you want to get into IITs and GE and all those, you have to get ranks, and then you have to study very well. And at the times of COVID, when you go out for something, you're all stressed out whether you're going to catch the virus or not. So stress is actually because of man's race towards modern progress and all the ensuing complexities. So stress is something that man has created. When you compare yourself with another person, you're creating stress for yourself. If you think that he's doing better than you, then it's stress for you. So when a parent compares his child to the next person's child, he is stressing himself out. He's worried that he's not doing as well. If he compares himself to something, or if he wants to achieve something in a very short while, it creates stress. Stress is created due to various reasons. I'm sure when you have a birthday party, it's as simple as, if you have a birthday party you have to go to, and then you feel that you do not have a proper dress to wear. That creates stress. For some, it creates so much stress that they miss out on the party just because they do not have something proper to wear. That is self created stress. Nobody would mind if they wore something that they'd already done before. Would they be asked to go out from the party because they're wearing something that they've already worn earlier? No, surely not. But this person or the student or the child creates this stress for himself, saying, "Oh, everybody's seen it. What are they going to think?" Nobody's going to think anything. It's just self-created stress. So people are stressed for various reasons. Some valid, some very, not at all valid reasons. Let's look at what kinds of stress are there and how you can overcome this stress. Here are some pictures. How do you look or how you feel when you're stressed out? Sometimes when you're very tired and stressed out, you probably get a headache, you're worried, you rub your eyes, you cannot see light. There are so many, these are all the symptoms of stress. You probably are very stressed out. So stress, it can have a big impact on your body, And different kinds of stress, as I was saying. When you must have seen some movies, or it is also said that some people, when they're stressed out, they eat a lot. And I'm sure you do that too. If you're some of us do that too. If you have an exam that you have to write in 2 days and you're not well prepared, you're sitting at home trying to study, and you're not able to get remember everything that you study, and you want to do it quickly, and you're so stressed out that you want to do something. In the meantime, you go open the fridge, and whatever you find there, you eat. And then in another 10 minutes you're hungry again, and you go and pick something and eat. Or when you're worrying about some result, when you're worrying about something, what might happen in the future, people trying you become emotional eaters. There are so many people who are, because of stress, they grow fat, they become obese. It's only because they're stressed out. They just continuously eat, trying to overcome their stress, which does not help them at all. And then sometimes stress makes us lose our appetite. For some people, when if you're stressed out, if you're thinking about the outcome of something, or if you're thinking about you have to go to a new place tomorrow, you have to join a new job, go to college tomorrow, college starts tomorrow or the next week, you have to make new friends, you have to go to a new atmosphere, you probably, some of you will have a loss of appetite. Immediately your hunger goes down, you don't feel hungry at all, because you're stressed out thinking about what is in store for you. So stress does all kinds of things to all kinds of people, and people react differently to stress. To some, what is stress to some may not be stress to others. Like for example, say there's an exam in 2 days time. For one student, it may be very stressful because he probably has not attended college or attended classes, or probably he has not studied the subject before. It would be very stressful for him. But for some person who has attended a few classes and who's studied a little, there would be stress, but it wouldn't be as unmanageable. He would probably be able to manage his stress. So there are different ways stress affects different people. So what are the signs of stress? How do you know when you're stressed out? How can I find out whether I'm stressed out or not? Most likely, as I said earlier, either you eat a lot or you don't eat at all. That's one of the symptoms. And then insomnia. Insomnia is when you have lack of sleep. When you try to sleep but you cannot fall asleep. You're all the time, your brain is always so active that it does not let you sleep. You cannot fall asleep. That's when you are stressed out. People who are sick, people who have diabetes, or people who are sick or in the hospital, they might be resting, but they hardly fall asleep because they're all stressed about what the outcome is going to be. So people, because of stress, people are unable to sleep. Loss of concentration. If you're stressed out and thinking only about one thing, surely you cannot concentrate on anything else. So this is also one of the symptoms of stress. Absenteeism. Just because if you're stressed about something in some place, like when you go to work and that's a stressful place, what do you try to do? You try to absent yourself from there. Suppose college, small children, most one of the signs that a small child is stressed out, you can tell, because if he is stressed out about school, he will try to bunk school, or he will try to avoid school as much as possible because of some stress factor in school. That's how parents come to know that this child is unhappy in school or stressed in school because of some reason. Then they could probably get to the bottom of that. So what does one person psychologically do to avoid stress? He tries to absent himself from that place where he feels stressed. Suppose you feel stressed going to somebody's house. What do? You try to avoid going there. You feel stressed going to college. What do? You try to avoid going there. So absenteeism. And depression. If you're stressed out, you're always thinking about that, and your mood is always depressed. Extreme anger and frustration. Sometimes you find it even in your parents. If your father is stressed out about work or business or something, and he comes back from office or from somewhere and then you immediately asked him something, he'll probably shout at you in anger. It's not because he doesn't like you or he doesn't like the question you ask. It's just that he is stressed out about something to do with work. So the outcome is anger and frustration. And probably he'll be frustrated later that he shouted at you unnecessarily. And then family conflict. Sometimes because of stress, there is conflict in the family, and then migraine, headaches, back problems, even back problems are sometimes because of stress. When you feel stress, your whole spinal cord reacts to that, and you are not comfortable. You don't feel comfortable either sitting, standing, even lying down. So you have these backaches and headaches and migraines. Migraines, they say, is generally because of stress. Migraines are, those headaches which continue that last for days and days sometimes for no reason at all. So what are stresses? Like I said, school, too much homework, and if there's too much work or too much information, pressure during exams, unhealthy competition in class. These are all, stresses for students, whether it's in school, college. As a student, you face some stress because, so what is the best thing to do to avoid this stress? We'll look at that later, but do not stress yourself too much on how well the next person is doing. Just think about how well you can do. That's all. Then you will have less stress. Don't compare yourself to others. Always tell the parents also, don't compare your children to somebody else. Don't even compare your own two children, because it creates stress for one who is not doing very well in studies maybe. He probably does well in something else, in he or she. So do not create a stressful situation in home. So work is, when you're working, you have deadlines. Sometimes you biting off more than you can chew. You take on more responsibility than you can handle. You promise that you can do things quickly or in time, which is not practically possible. Even then there is stress. Family, bickering parents, in the sense if the parents are continuously fighting with one another, arguing with one another, shouting at one another, then that creates stress for the rest of the family. Troublesome children, parents sometimes are stressed out because a child is hyperactive or always getting into trouble or has some bad habits. So the parent is stressed out. And in relationships, in a relationship, whether it's husband and wife, mother, child, father, son, whatever, because of a lack of communication and a needy partner, so that also creates stress. Finances, that is because of money. Money also creates a lot of stress. Bills have to be paid, fees has to be done. For people who are working, who are coming closer to retirement, they have to worry about how they're going to survive after they retire. People who are in the young age, they have to worry about how they're going to educate their children. People who are students have to worry about how they're going to, how going to use their pocket money to last till the end of the month. So all these sort of things. Some people may not be getting pocket money, so how do they ask their parents for pocket money? All these things are cause for stress. Health, sometimes ill health, physical, mental challenges, and environment. If it's a insecure environment, if there's peer pressure, most students actually nowadays feel more stressed, not because of their parents or what their others have to say, but because of peer pressure. They come under a lot of stress, especially in the college atmosphere, where they're away from home. They would like to, as a youngster, as a teenager, you probably want to gel in. You want to be part of a group. You want to be part of that whole gang. So if you're not immediately taken in, you feel a lot of stress, you feel pressure, and you would like to do something to gel in. So that is the reason why some of the students even take up, to do wrong things in order to mingle and look cool. Just to look cool, they'll do all sorts of things. That is peer pressure. So how do you identify stress? Stress is when you're working, you're thinking, oh, I wish I could sleep. I wish I could get rest. I'd like to sleep. And when you're sleeping, you're thinking about work. Oh my God, I have so much work to do. How am I going to complete it if I'm going to rest? So that's the problem with stress, you know. You can't do anything without worrying. So if when you're working, you're thinking about sleep, and when you're sleeping, you're thinking about work. So you're stressed both ways. So young students, especially who's coming to college, has so many stressful things. He has to go to a new place, make new friends, he has to join clubs, he has to, probably apply for an education loan, he has to, impress the teachers, get good marks, do well in his exams, be punctual, have a proper uniform, dress properly. If you're not used to all these things before, it could create a situation of a little bit of stress. But it's not something that is impossible to do. So there is no need to create unnecessary stress where things are easy. So you should not stress about things that are not under your control. So again, causes of stress is insecurity. If you're not secure in yourself, like, if you feel that you're not good looking, or that you were short, or you're fat, or something like that, if you're not secure in your own physical being, that could be causes of stress. If you think that you're not smart enough, if you're not intelligent enough, that could be cause of stress. So but one thing, let me try tell you, there is something that some kinds of stress is difficult to avoid, in the sense that, when you're going to a new place, you will have to make new friends, you have new place, new teachers, new peer group, and all that. Of course, that is cause for stress. But there are some things like your looks, your height, your weight. So there are things which you can do nothing about. Can you make the situation better by worrying about it? So I'd like to tell you a small story here. There was a team in England which was rowing. They were the rowing champions for the past 2 or 3 Olympics continuously, and two of them. They were, these rowing champions, canoes, small canoes, where they row and they have a race. So the canoe racing, it's called rowing championship. And so this pair of rowers or champions, canoe rowing champions, they were interviewed by a paper. And the journalist asked them, how come that every year you two are the champions, you've been winning the gold medal for the past 3 Olympics, and this is the fourth one you're going to compete, and tomorrow is going to be a very hard day because the weather was supposed to be rainy and strong winds were predicted for the next day. And when this journalist asked that person, he said, I'm not worried about what is not under my control. I'm only worried about what is in my boat, what is in my canoe, what can I do to make it better. Will worrying about whether it's going to rain tomorrow going to make me better? Will worrying about the strong winds going to make me better? Will worrying about whether the race is going to start on time or not? All these things are not under my control. Okay, they are under the control of nature. Nobody can control it. The weather, the strong winds, the waves, the rain, nobody can control them. So will worrying about these things make me a better rower? No, right? So he said, I only worry about what I can control. So as this you can apply, and that's why probably they're the winners for the past 3 Olympics, because they do not stress themselves out unnecessarily about things which they cannot control. So I think we can take a tip from here, saying as students, as people, there are some things which are not under our control. So worrying about them only adds to our pressure, and we cannot actually do anything about it. So why worry about those things? Only worry about things that you can control. So see how you can reduce your levels of worry to a large extent because of this. Bad boss, personal or family problems, technology. Sometimes technology is a source of stress. Technology is changing so fast. Every day you buy a phone, and in two years or 1 year, the phone is obsolete, and you have another phone. You get a new phone, you don't know how to use it. There is stress, so you're always worrying something or the other. If you're not updated with technology, then you face stress. So lots of things to stress you out. Let's look at why some stress is good. It might sound funny, but yes, some stress is good. That is called eustress, and the stress that is bad is called distress. We know the word distress, right? When you're worried, it's distress. What is eustress? So how can somebody say that stress is good for you? Think about it. If you had no stress about exams, if you're not worried about exams at all, do you think you'll put in all those hours for study? No, right? If you think that exams are easy, you wouldn't actually be studying so hard, right? If you didn't take stress about the competition you're going to face, will you be able to do that? Even an Olympic champion, whether it's Usain Bolt or whoever, the fastest runner on earth, if he didn't have stress, do you think he would be worried? He would be just lazing around just before his race, and he would just come and stand and race and win it? No. Even people like that feel some stress before going into the race. But that kind of stress is good stress. It makes your heart beat faster, and there's some hormone called estrogen. This estrogen is released in your body, which makes the muscles stronger at that time. Imagine you run. You may not run very fast, but if a dog was chasing you on the street, do you think you would run faster than the dog? I'm sure you would. You know why? Because the stress that creates, estrogen is released in your body, and then you run faster than the dog to save yourself. So what created that stress? The stress created that hormone and made you run faster. It gave extra energy to your muscles to help you run faster. So stress, when the public speakers, if I'm going for a public speech to speak to hundreds of people, probably I'll feel a little stress. Even before every class, I probably feel stress. How am I going to handle this presentation? How am I going to speak about it? If I didn't feel that stress, then I would be very laid back. I wouldn't put in so much effort, because that little stress helps me do better. It helps me, keeps me on my toes. It gives me extra energy. So just like, when you're going on stage, even though you're well prepared, when you're going on stage to speak, you'll have butterflies in your stomach. That's because of the stress. Even when you're well prepared for the exam, when you look at the question paper the first time, you feel all, sweaty palms, and you feel that you don't know anything for a second, and you sort of blank out. That's all caused by stress. But then slowly everything comes back to normal, and then once you start writing, I'm sure you will do very well. So that is what stress does to you. It sort of creates that extra, rush of blood to your mind, to your brain, to your heart, to make you feel energized. So eustress is sometimes good for you, and then distress. Distress is not good for you. It creates, it takes away from whatever energy you have. It creates a panic-like situation. It creates a lot of trouble for you. You may not be able to perform as well as you would if you didn't have stress. So eustress is positive stress. It motivates, focuses energy. It's short term. Eustress is generally short term. You feel that, stress only for a little while. Once you start doing it, then it fades away. Like I said, Usain Bolt, just before he goes into the race, he feels stressed. But once he starts running, it fades away, and he reaches his destination or his finish line. Similarly, if you're writing your exam, for a minute you feel that stress, but once for a few seconds or minutes, and after that, once it fades away, and then you write it very well. Uh, oh my God. It is within our coping abilities. It's exciting and it actually improves performance. Eustress, it improves performance because having a little stress about something actually makes you do better. Think about all the actors and actors that are your favorite. You think all of them are like, whether it's a Shah Rukh Khan or a Prabhas or, anybody, or I don't know, Mahesh Babu, or don't they feel stressed when they're acting just because they've given so many hits? Of course they do. But once they start, they feel a little, nervous when they go into the role. But once they start performing, it fades away and they give it their best. And that's why we like them, because they give it their best. They do not stress about how it's going to look on screen and all. They just give it their best shot. So it actually improves performance. So positive tells it improves concentration, improves performance, and energizes you into motion. Eustress. And distress, what does it cause? Causes anxiety. Distress is when you worry too much about something. It can be short term and sometimes it can be long term too. It's outside of our coping abilities. Distress is something when it's outside our coping abilities. We are not able to cope with stress. Then it becomes distress. It feels unpleasant. People don't like to be stressed out. It gives a very bad feeling in the sense that, some people before exams, I know they're physically become so weak that they have to keep running to the washroom, just before going to the exam, or they get a headache, or, they feel very, very low energy. They sort of go completely blank. All this is distress. It decreases performance and can lead to mental and physical problems. So, if you have stress, what happens? Look at your performance, what is that curve when you're stressed out. This is performance on the perpendicular axis, on the horizontal axis, and on the perpendicular, you have stress. So, look at when you have low stress, your performance goes up. Sleep, alertness, and it is optimal. But when you have high stress, as the medium stress, little bit of stress, as I said, is good. When you have little stressed, your performance is optimal. But when you're stressed more, as it goes towards the higher, you have anxiety and disorganization. So little stress is good. When it goes somewhere in the middle, that stress is good. But if it goes beyond the medium stage, it becomes bad. Your performance curve drops. So stress is an automatic response to any physical or mental demand placed on a person. If I suddenly say, okay, you have a test tomorrow, or now, right now, I go into class and I say, okay, you have a test now. I'm sure the whole class will be stressed out. Because physically, mentally, I'm asking them to do something immediately. So they'll be completely stressed. They'll say, oh no, ma'am, we can't do it. It's impossible. I don't know anything. I don't remember anything. I didn't study. But then if they calm down and then I give them a question which I've taught, they probably could write at least half the answer once they try to recollect. Right? So even the ones who have not studied. But first, the initial reaction is stress. So adrenaline is a chemical naturally produced in the body as a response to stress. I was talking about estrogen. Estrogen is one of the chemicals, is a feel-good chemical. Here, adrenaline is a chemical which is produced in the body because of, as a response to stress. Sometimes the deer, you see these, I don't know if you see these National Geographic channels, when a lion is chasing a deer, the deer runs as fast as possible. It outruns the lion. How does it run? It actually cannot. Deers do run fast, but sometimes they run faster because of the adrenaline that comes with fear added with stress, with the adrenaline just shoots in the body and they run. Fight or flight response is elicited. There are two kind of responses when you are under stress. Either you stand and fight or you take flight. So this we learn from the animal kingdom also. Either the deer waits and stares, sometimes stares, and with the group it has support. It sort of try to fight the lion. Sometimes it takes flight. Most of the time, a general tendency is to take flight. Take flight in the sense is run away from that situation. Look at that. Stress can do this to you. It does to it too. In human beings, hair fall. If you go to a doctor, say, doctor, my hair is falling out so much nowadays, he'd probably tell you that you're just worrying too much about everything. Don't worry, it'll all come back. Or maybe it's just too much stress. Graying is also sometimes, early graying. If you're graying earlier than your age, it says that you're under a lot of stress. A lot of chemical reactions take place in our body when we are stressed out, which leads to, hair fall, graying, ulcers. Because of stress, people develop ulcers in their intestines because of stress, migraines, so a lot of physical reactions happen because of stress. So stress is not a good thing for you, both physically and mentally. So what is a stress buster? Sleep is the best stress buster. So always be prepared for change. Always whenever you're stressed out, think about something else. Be prepared for change. Okay? And take time to protect, refresh, and reorganize and remotivate yourself. And avoid giving into alcohol, smoking, and other substance abuses. Lots of elders or students, everybody, because of stress, they get into some bad habits or bad company. Try to avoid doing that, because these alcohol or smoking or other substances are not answers to stress. They only, for the moment, short term, they might give a little relief, but the problem does not go away, and in turn, these become the problem. The alcohol or the substance abuse or the smoking becomes the actual stress later, when the little stress that you're facing has gone away. So try not to do that. Positive attitude towards stressful situations. Always think, just like, you always think that, good times never last too long. Even bad times do not last forever. Even bad times will go away and there will be better times ahead. That's what we've been telling ourselves all during the COVID season, that, COVID, it's not going to last forever. There will be a vaccine soon and we'll be out of this mess. So never stress out on things that are not under your control. Don't be complacent. Okay? Sit straight and comfortably on your seat and try breathing exercises. Always, whenever you're stressed out, the best things to do is to meditate, yoga. If you're not into that, the simplest thing to do is to take a few deep breaths. Even when you're starting your exam, sit in the chair, take a few deep breaths, give a lot of oxygen to your brain, and then start writing. If you're going to give a public speech, stand in front of the podium, take 2 or 3 deep breaths and start speaking. Your mind will calm down, your heart will calm down, everything will be back to normal, and then you can do well, you can perform well. So relief from breath. Stop shallow breathing. The moment we're stressed out, what do? We sort of start panting. We start worrying. We are not actually breathing completely. We are sort of hyperventilating, as it's called. So try not to do that. Try to, whenever you're stressed out, take deep breaths right to the bottom of your lungs, and then take, exhale deeply, and then you'll feel much better. You can see this for yourself. You'll feel much better after 2 or 3 deep breaths. Again, habit of deep breaths. Visualize and communicate your vision. Always think about what you want to be done, How do you want to see yourself? Visualize, when you're writing an exam, visualize your marks, visualize how you're going to perform. So when you visualize something, when you're giving a speech, visualize the claps that are going to come. When you visualize something, you do it better. Laugh. Laughter, they say, is the best medicine. And that's the reason, for all these retired people, they have these laughing clubs where they just, though with the joke, they just laugh out loud. Even the act of laughing creates the adrenaline in your body, which makes you feel better. It creates that enzyme which makes you feel better. The message goes to the brain that you're already better. So laughing is a very good way to get rid of stress. Do your goofiest impression, do anything silly and make yourself laugh. Enjoy the moment and you'll feel much better. Beware of your choices and always know that you have a choice. Always, when people are stressed out, they think that there's no way out. Of course there is. There is always a way out. Sometimes the way out may be a little tough, may be hard to take, but there's always a way out. If you're in trouble, if you're in a stressful kind of situation, always discuss it with somebody else. Discuss it with a parent. If that's not possible, discuss it with a friend who is, older to you. Probably they can help you out, or at least discuss it with a friend who, is who's your good friend who understands you and who can help you out. So always try to talk about your stress to somebody else before you suffocate with it inside. So always discussion, bringing out your stress. That when you tell the same problem to your friend, he probably will tell you that yeah, I went through this last year or this year, or I am going through this right now. It's not only you. Then you will understand that this is not a problem. People generally believe that only I am having all these troubles. Nobody else has in the world has these troubles except me. Only I face all these problems. God is only punishing me. These kind of things. This will disappear once you talk about it to somebody else. And you have a choice. You can say yes or no. Okay, learn to say no, and you cannot do everything you're asked, especially peer pressure. As I was saying, peer pressure is one of the causes of stress, mostly among students and also among student suicides. Because of peer pressure, they get into a lot of trouble, they face stress, and then they think that there's no way out. But there is a way out. You can say no. No does not mean end of the world. You might think that if I say no, I'll lose their friendship, I'll lose that person. But saying no will actually make you feel better, make you understand who your real friends are, and probably, in the long run, you will have better friends than the ones you have right now. So learn to say no. Be thankful. Always do not compare yourself with somebody who has more than you. Compare yourself if you have to. Do not compare yourself. But if you have to, compare yourself with somebody who has lesser than you. And then be thankful for what you have. Always. Gratitude is the best stress reliever. Do nothing. People, overachievers, or people, some students, even people who work, they're always running around doing a lot of things. And they think that, doing all these things, they're going to take some rest in the near future, and they keep on stressing themselves out that, oh, I have to finish this, I have to finish that, I have to finish that, after this I have to do that, tomorrow morning I have to get up and do that. Sometimes it is good to do nothing. I'm sure I don't have to tell you students this, because I think you're the masters at doing nothing. So, but there are some students who are very worried about things, and they're always doing so many things at once. But sometimes it's good to just relax and do nothing, take a break and meditate and let that stress go. Listen to music, generally. ABC strategy. First, there's only two times when I feel stress, in the day and in the night. So when is the time when he doesn't feel stress? So there's ABC about stress. Awareness that you are under stress. People try to, say, oh, I don't feel any stress. All the time feeling this stress. Be aware that you're stressed. Balance and see that you can control this stress. See that the stress does not control you. You be in control. Try to do something to, like, do nothing. Sleep, or be away from that situation. Do not think about it for so long. Do something else. Stress reduction methods. You could join a social group. Lots of people, I'm sure you've heard of Alcoholic Anonymous. That's a group where alcoholics go for to rejuvenate themselves or get rid of their habit. So what does it do? It's a support group. When all those people who are trying to get rid of alcoholism or stop drinking, when they get together, they get support from each other. So you can join some support groups, like, not I'm trying to say that you should join Alcoholic Anonymous, but there could be people like you who are facing the similar kind of stress. Maybe people are studying and they're not able to remember, or people are not able to cope because of the language, or you can you have try to create a support group for yourself and be a part of that. Creative imagery, meditation, yoga and meditation is the best thing. As I'm sure Ramdev Baba will tell you, even in his yoga classes, he has this laughter therapy sessions where he asks you to laugh out loud. Put your head back and laugh out loud. So, and meditation, I believe, relieves you a lot of stress. Meditation is to do nothing, just sit in a calm pose, in probably the lotus pose of the yoga, and just think about do not think about anything, only concentrate on your breath, the breath you take in and the breath you exhale. Just do that, and your mind calms down and you actually let go a lot of stress. Time management. Why do you feel stressed? It's because you have too little time to do a lot of things. So people who are under a lot of stress, if they are able to manage their time well, they would decrease their stress. So if you're able to manage your time well. Proper nutrition, a balanced diet is also important. Some people are stressed out because they feel weak. They do not have enough energy for the things they're doing the whole day. So a balanced diet, proper relaxation, a good night's sleep, 8 hours of sleep, minimum sleep. Some people may need a little less, some people may need a little more, but a proper sleep, at least between 7 and 9 hours of sleep, is compulsory. Quiet environment. You need not always be in this, hyper kind of environment. Sometimes your mind needs that place to relax. So quiet environment. Having a positive attitude and a comfortable position. Read a good book. When you read or when you watch a good movie, your thinking process stops. Your concentration is diverted from what is stressing you out to what you're reading about or what you're watching. So sometimes even relaxation in front of the TV, not all the time, but sometimes for for an hour or two is good. So managing stress. So as we all saw about managing stress, what can we do? Take a nap. So I'm sure you're all very good at this, but people who are working very hard, feeling very stressed out, taking a nap once in a while is a good thing to do. And they say nowadays something called a power nap. Even closing your eyelids for about 6 to 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes is good. It makes you feel refreshed for 2 or 3 hours later. Generally it happens, right? If you sleep for half an hour in the afternoon, in the night you can stay awake for 3 hours, which is not advisable. But that's what, so these are called power naps. So we saw it in the Three Idiots movie, where that principal, he takes a power nap for 7 minutes while somebody comes and shaves him. So he does not want to waste that shaving time as well. So it's during this power nap, the barber comes and shaves his face. So people do all sorts of things. That's a make-believe situation, but power naps also are good. So taking a small nap actually re-energizes. It's like recharging your battery. Eat well. Eat well. That is a nutritious diet. Get organized. Always Being organized is good. Set a realistic goal. You know, when sometimes you set goals that are too difficult, you will be all stressed out. So you should know whether your goal is realistic. Set realistic goals. Develop a workflow. Stay involved. Take a break. Always take a break. If you're working on the computer for continuously, you will be stressed out. Your eyes probably are strained, or your neck muscles ache. So take a break. Go for a walk. Even all the computer professionals are told that every 1 hour they have to get up, go walk for 5 minutes, and come back and sit. Then that's when they'll feel refreshed, or else they're all stressed out. So taking a break is good for you. Exercise. As always, just as eating well is important and sleeping well is important, exercise is equally important. This is lot of students are missing out on, because they believe that, you know, they have eaten, they've gone to college, they've come back, and that's it. But as you are a young girl or boy, your body needs all the nutrients. It also needs a lot of exercise. So this playtime outside is being reduced because of your telephones, because of all the video games that you play. Try to put in a few hours, or at least an hour of exercise every day, depending on how fit you are. Some people go to the gym. For some it may not be possible. So do some physical activity, probably either walking, jogging, skipping, or just, you know, working, doing some work at home. So do something that gives you some physical exercise. Laugh it off. And yoga, meditation, counseling, talk therapy, life coaching, all these are things that can be done with help. You can learn yoga, you can learn meditation, you can go for counseling. Counseling is a little more tougher. You know, when people are too stressed out, you need to, when you become sick stressing out on things, that's when you go for counseling. But then, put the glass down. What do you mean, put the glass down? Let's see what it means. Next one. When you leave college, study this small story and hope it brings a big change in you. Once a professor asked his class, saying, he was holding a glass of water, and he said, "What do you see in this?" So he put it up for all the students to see. And they said, "What do you think this glass weighed?" Some said 50 grams, 100 grams, 125 grams. So they were not able to guess, but some weight is there in the glass. So he held his hand up and he asked them the weight, and they said it could be weighing about 100 grams or so. And then he says, I really don't know the weight unless I wait. But the next question is, what happens if I hold it up for a few minutes? When I hold up a glass for a few minutes of 100 grams, what will happen? Student said, nothing is going to happen. If you weigh a bottle or a glass for a few minutes, nothing is going to happen. What would happen if I held the same glass for an hour? If I had to hold something for an hour like this, what would happen? Then the students replied, your arm would begin to ache because you had to hold it up. Even if it's 100 grams, you have to hold it up continuously. Try holding it up, even just putting your arm in this position for an hour without even holding anything. Try doing that and your arm will start to ache, right? And then, now, suppose I hold the same glass for whole day. For the whole day, 24 hours, I'm holding this glass. What will happen? What will happen? The student said, your arm could go numb, you might have severe muscle stress and paralysis, and you'll have to go to hospital for sure. If you held up your arm like this, which is very difficult, your whole arm would ache, it would become numb, and you wouldn't have any feeling, and then you'd probably, it would get stuck, and you'd have a muscle pain, and you'd have to go into hospital. So and all of them laughed, because for something as silly as holding a glass, you would have to go to hospital. Very good. But during this, did the weight of the glass change? Did the weight change? Whether it's a few minutes, an hour, or 24 hours? No. The weight of the glass was the same. No was the answer. Then what caused the arm to ache and the muscle to stress? What caused it? It was the students were puzzled. They said, what should I do to come out of the pain? They said, put the glass down. Now, what should I do to avoid the stress, the muscle, numbness, pain, ache in my muscle? They said, put the glass down. So the professor put the glass down. And the professor says, exactly. Life's problems are like this. If you hold, if you hold it for a few minutes in your head, it's okay. They seem okay. Think of them for a long time and they begin to ache. Hold it even longer and they begin to paralyze you. You will not be able to do anything. See how simple? Life's problems are like that. You think about problems. That's not normal. All of us have to think. All of us have some problem or the other. You think about them for some time. Okay, then you are worried a little. They seem okay, but you think of it a little longer, then your head starts to ache. If you think about the same problem again and again, your head. But if you keep on thinking about it the whole day, what happens? It probably they begin to paralyze you, and you will not be able to do anything else because your whole concentration is on the problem. So you are paralyzed. You become numb from everything else. So life's problems are like that. They stress you. Stress is like that. So think of the challenge or problems in your life. It's more important to put them down. In the sense, at the end of every day, before you go to sleep, if you put your problems down, do not think about them, you will not be stressed. Therefore, you are not stressed. Before you go to sleep, if you're able to put your problems away, not think about them, you're not stressed, you wake up every day feeling fresh and strong and can handle any issue, any challenge that comes your day. So no problem is, forever. So put your problems down. There is going to be a change tomorrow. There's going to be a change the next day or the next hour. So no problem is too big to surmount. So whenever you leave college today, remember to put the glass down. So stop stressing and start living. Thank you. So all of you have heard about stress, what it does to you, what it does to your body, what it does to your mental and physical well-being. So try not to stress yourself too much about things because everything is going to change. Whether it's good, that's going to change. If it's bad, that too is going to change. So keep smiling. Have a good holiday. Have a happy Sankranti. See you after the break, after the holidays. Good luck.